This is a special edition of WeatherScope, continuing coverage of Tropical Depression Fran from the Weather Channel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Weather Channel this afternoon as we follow what's left of Fran. What's left is a tropical depression, Tropical Storm Fran, now a tropical depression, downgraded to that as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. That's good news. That means the winds have subsided somewhat, although winds are still being clocked at some 35 miles per hour, and Fran is now dropping torrential amounts of rain in Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland, and we've had reports of several tornadoes at times. Let's take a look at the current coordinates now of Tropical Depression Fran, so that if you are tracking what's left of this ex-hurricane that made landfall last night at Cape Fear, we will then take you to some video of what has occurred as Fran made it on shore. Fran is currently centered at 37.9 north, 79.4 west, about 30 miles east of Hot Springs, Virginia. It's moving north-northwest near 15 miles per hour, and a gradual turn toward the north, and some deceleration is expected during the next 24 hours. The estimated central pressure is 29.26 inches, and rainfall totals of some 6 to 8 inches are still possible. Let's take a look at this video from Wilmington, North Carolina, as Fran, a hurricane, moved on shore. It was one of the hardest hit areas. Powerful winds ripped steeples off churches, snapped trees, downed some trees, power lines are down. Storm left more than 1 million people without power as it moved north, and some folks are facing problems with more flooding today. Let's take a look at what it looked like when it made landfall yesterday in terms of how much rain fell. We've got some Doppler estimates for you and also some wind gust estimates for you. Around Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, 124 mile-per-hour winds were clocked, and, that was Frying Pan Shoals. At Raleigh-Durham, they were 79 miles per hour. That was the highest ever recorded at the Raleigh-Durham airport. It was also the highest ever recorded for the month, and they also recorded the second lowest pressure. Look at these Doppler estimates. That pink indicates anywhere upwards of a foot of rain that fell as Fran made it on shore and then headed northward through North Carolina. And that is indeed the threat today, potential flooding. Here's the scenario. As Fran heads to the north, even as a tropical depression, there's high pressure just to the north of Fran. I think we've got a graphic that will show that to you. And heavy rain is set up, or the possibility for it. If it slows up, that means it'll continue to bring in a lot of rain. It'll upslope in the mountains of the northeast and the Appalachians, and that means rainfall potential is flooding potential. We have some reports, by the way, out of the Pamlico River area. Pamlico River experienced some flooding, you might remember, with Bertha, and indications are now that it might be worse than Bertha. Now, Bertha carried about a 5-foot storm surge along the Pamlico River. Looks like Fran is responsible for a higher surge than that. Also, there's a river flood warning for the tidal Potomac at Wisconsin Avenue. I believe high tide there is around 4 o'clock this afternoon, around 4:11, I think was the exact time. Now, just in the last hour, 2 inches more rain fell around Tom's Branch in Nelson County, Virginia. That brings their total up to 14.02 inches, and Big Meadows in Page County, 12.25 inches. Incredible amounts of rain, and you won't feel some of the effects of that on the rivers and the small streams on the rivers until perhaps tomorrow. Let's take a look at the Doppler estimate now. This is as of 8 o'clock this morning. We've got another picture for you of the radar estimates since this morning for much of the country, and also there are some radar estimates. If we can, is that frame there? If not, let me give you another idea of what's going on up there. 885,000 people are without power, and that's in North Carolina and in South Carolina. The Doppler estimates since 8 o'clock this morning are indicating now that the rainfall occurring up through Maryland, indicating not this bad, that's for sure. That's what it looked like yesterday. Let's come on back. I think in the studio we might be able to pull up that. There we go. So this is since 8 o'clock this morning. Notice right here in Maryland, That area of yellow, that's indicating 3 to 4 inches of rain, and that's just since 8 o'clock this morning. The rain now getting heavy in southern Pennsylvania as well. This is the current radar out of the area. Again, we've had some tornadoes indicated in West Baltimore County and Carroll County. That's just west of the Baltimore area. If you're going to be driving from Columbus anywhere toward Pittsburgh or to the east, you can figure that it's going to be rough travel, could be some flooding interfering. Annapolis and in the Chesapeake Bay to the southern Chesapeake, there are coastal flood warnings still in effect. And here is your satellite picture, your infrared analysis. That shows some impact all the way out into Illinois and Wisconsin with some high clouds from this huge storm system as it moved on shore. Again, Fran was almost as big as Hugo in total coverage, certainly not as strong as Hugo, Hugo being a Category 4 when it made landfall. Now, Fran is a tropical depression. Speaking of tropical depressions, there is another one out in the Atlantic that we're watching. Declan Cannon is in the studio, and he can tell you about that one. We'll be back in about 20 minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marshall. And yeah, indeed, we do have yet another tropical system. Even Columbus today. You got plans to head over to Pittsburgh. Get ready for rain all the way, and you're going to need some extra time because the rain's not going anywhere fast. We have more rain over the northern plains. A cold front making its way through to the Dakotas at this time with showers.